The president of Belarus, Alexander Lukashenko, has led Belarus since the collapse of Soviet Union, and he has kept the country as close to the Soviet style republic as possible. Even the state security service has kept the name KGB. What Belarus does or doesn't do is not of much importance, but the stability of Belarus is very important for Russia and the West. Russia has counted on several states to its west to serve as a buffer between it and the other European nations. This buffer is basically 3 Baltic states, Ukraine, and between them Belarus. The buffer dramatically increased the distances that the invaders had to travel to take Moscow. It enabled the Russians to fend off invasions. So we know that there have been a lot of invasions in the 18th century, 19th century, and even 20th century. After the Cold War, part of this buffer dissolved. The Baltics were admitted into European Union and NATO. So NATO is now very near to St. Petersburg. Ukraine also rose against their pro-Russian government in the Orange Revolution, which was actually a Western attempt to integrate Ukraine into NATO. Well, Ukraine is a frozen conflict now. The buffer has held. Ukraine has not joined NATO, nor is it a danger to Russia. So, Belarus can actually upset this entire balance. Belarus has generally been hostile to West and cautious towards Russia. Lukashenko has presided over an extremely repressive regime that crushed all would-be destabilizing forces. So Lukashenko personified the regime, and the health of one man is not the best thing to look at as a national strategy. The West also has probed the possibility of overthrowing the president and replacing his regime. So Russia remains uneasy. It also carried out a major military exercise to demonstrate Russia's ability to invade and take control of the country anytime. In the extreme scenario, Belarus were to become part of NATO, Moscow would be just 200 miles from the forward concentration of hostile troops. The entire geopolitical structure of Russia, already weakened by NATO's expansion, would basically collapse. The buffer would be lost. Russia can live with a neutral Ukraine, a neutral Belarus, and a pro-Western Baltics. But if Belarus tipped, it would trigger a Russian response, first a political one, then a military one. Whether the Russian troops can carry out a complex operation in Belarus, nobody knows. But they would have to try. Lukashenko has recently praised the KGB, the security agency. This is actually an assurance to the Russians that he has the situation under control, and this is also a warning to the West not to intrude.